The Tour de France is the high point on the cycling calendar for much of the peloton. This year's race starts in the picturesque Mont Saint-Michel and will take in stages to Andorra, Mont Ventoux, Mont Blanc and Morzine before the finish in Paris. 2 individual time trials will also prove vital in the fight for the overall classification. The cream of the Grand Tour riders will be present and correct this July, and here are Cycling News' top 10 riders to watch for the 2016 Tour de France. Chris Froome's looking to become the first rider since Miguel Geraint in 1995 to defend his Tour de France title. Froome's not dominated in the early part of the season as he has in previous years, but he goes into the Tour having won his 3rd Dauphiné title. The last 2 times that Froome's won the Dauphiné, he's gone on to win the Tour de France the following month. Team Sky's given the defending champion some strong support, with the likes of Mikel Landa, Geraint Thomas, Wout Poels and Sergio Henao for backup. After missing out last year, Alberto Contador has based his whole season around the 2016 Tour de France. He'd previously indicated that this would be his last appearance, but has since retracted that statement and is looking to race next year. Nevertheless, we can still expect Contador to be going all out to dethrone Froome. Contador's been unsung this season, and his 5th place at the Dauphiné was the first time he'd finished off the podium this year, although his only victory came at the Vuelta al País Vasco. This year will be Nairo Quintana's 3rd attempt at winning the Tour de France. He finished 2nd on both previous tries and will hope that his 3rd time lucky this July. Last year, Quintana pushed Froome closer than ever before, finishing just 1 minute 12 behind the Team Sky rider. Quintana took a different route to most of this year's Tour, riding the route to suit again and taking the overall victory. He'll once again have the backing of Alejandro Valverde, but Movistar may want to apply a different tactic this season if he wants to claim victory. Following his first Grand Tour win at the Vuelta a España last season, Astana is putting their full support behind Fabio Aru. The Sardinian has 5 previous appearances in Grand Tours, but this will be the first time he rides the Tour de France. Aru also rode the Dauphiné for the first time as his final event before the Tour. While he didn't feature in the overall classification, he showed some signs of good form with a daring victory on stage 3. Former champion Vincenzo Nibali will be part of the squad sent to support Aru. TJ Van Garderen will help form a 2-pronged approach for BMC at the Tour. The American will ride as a joint leader alongside Richie Porte. Van Garderen's had a mixed relationship with the Tour, but at its best, it's seen him break the top 5 twice. He looks set to better that and perhaps make the podium last season before illness forced him out in the final week. Van Garderen suffered in the cold at the Tour de Suisse, but came home with a stage win and eventually finished 6th overall. Romain Bardet is AG2R Le Mondial's lone hope for the overall classification this July. With no Jean-Christophe Barrault, Bardet will shoulder the ambitions of the team and the pressure that comes with being a home rider. Bardet has proved himself more than capable of dealing with those pressures in the past, with 2 top 10 finishes in the last 2 attempts. Disrupted by injury last season, Bardet has had a much smoother run into this year's race, culminating in a career best finish of 2nd at the Critérium de Dauphiné. In the other French World Tour team, it'll be Thibaut Pinot that leads the charge. Pinot got French tongues wagging with his 3rd place in 2014, but his bid for the GC last season fell foul of the first week and he'd only managed 13th. Over the winter, Pinot and his FDJ team have been working hard on their time trialling and it's reaped much reward, including a TT win over Tom Dumoulin Romandy. Pinot missed the mark in the general classification at the Dauphiné, but did finish with a stage win. While Team Sky will be giving their full backing to Chris Froome for the overall title, Geraint Thomas will be afforded some protection. Thomas impressed in last year's race as he hung on to a top 5 spot until ultimately cracking in the final week. It was a performance that persuaded Thomas to move his focus from the classics to Grand Tour racing. His season started strongly with wins at the Volta à Algarve and Paris-Nice, but he enjoyed a bad final day at the recent Tour de Suisse and finished 17th overall. After finishing 14th in his debut Tour de France last season, Warren Barguil returns to the race with much loftier ambitions. The 24-year-old now has his sights on the top 10 and the young riders classification. Barguil has been carefully nurtured by the Giant Alpecin team and that time and patience is bearing fruit. Barguil's season was hampered by a serious training crash in January, but he's coming good at just the right time, with 6th at Liège-Bastogne-Liège in April and an impressive 3rd at the Tour de Suisse. Richie Porte spent the past few seasons working as a lieutenant for Chris Froome. Following his switch to BMC, he'll finally get a shot at his own success, even if he does have to share leadership with TJ Van Garderen. Porte was given a rare chance to lead a Grand Tour at last year's Giro d'Italia, but after multiple setbacks, he was forced to abandon in week 2. Port's been very consistent so far this season and looks set for a podium at the Dauphiné until he brushed the barriers in the finale of the final stage.